For years, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman seemed like the perfect love story, the country music star and the Oscar-winning actress who defied Hollywood's odds. They smiled on red carpets, held hands at awards shows, and spoke of faith, redemption, and unconditional love. But now, after their shocking divorce, Keith Urban has broken his silence. What he confessed about Nicole Kidman has left fans stunned, and it reveals a truth that no one saw coming. At first glance, theirs was the kind of love story people only read about in novels, a chance meeting that turned into a whirlwind romance. But what really happened behind the scenes of this Hollywood fairy tale? And why does Keith Urban's recent confession feel like a heartbreaking love letter and a lifetime of regret rolled into one? Let's start from the beginning, before the cameras, before the heartbreak, before the confessions that shattered the illusion of perfection. It was 2005, and both Nicole and Keith were standing on the same stage at an event honoring Australian excellence in Los Angeles. She had just come out of one of Hollywood's most publicized divorces. Tom Cruise had been her husband for 11 years, and their split had left her soul searching for something real. Keith Urban, on the other hand, was a rising star in Nashville, charming, talented, but struggling privately with addiction and a fear of being vulnerable. When they met, something clicked instantly. Keith would later recall, "From the moment I met her, I just knew. She wasn't like anyone I had ever known. There was a quiet strength about her." Nicole, too, would say she felt that connection. "I remember thinking, oh, my God. I didn't expect this. It was like the universe was saying, here you go, this is what you've been waiting for." It was the kind of moment that defied reason, two people, both wounded in different ways, finding comfort in each other's eyes. Within months, they were inseparable. Nicole moved cautiously. After her painful split from Cruise, she wasn't ready to trust easily. But Keith's warmth and his humility disarmed her. He wasn't Hollywood, he was real, grounded, and human. By 2006, the couple tied the knot in a romantic ceremony in Sydney, surrounded by close friends and family. The world swooned, Australia's golden couple had been born. From the outside, it was pure perfection. They appeared devoted, faithful, and unshakable. Nicole supported Keith at every concert, and Keith proudly called Nicole his muse. But behind closed doors, their marriage was being tested in ways most people couldn't imagine. Keith's struggles with addiction, which he had fought for years before meeting Nicole, resurfaced just months after their wedding. Nicole, still newlywed, faced an impossible choice, to walk away or to fight for the man she loved. She chose love. Without hesitation, she staged an intervention. "I just didn't want to lose him," she would later say softly. Keith checked into rehab and credited Nicole for saving his life. "I was spiritually dead before I met her," he confessed in a 2007 interview. "She saved me in every way." It seemed like they had overcome the worst. Fans applauded Nicole's strength and Keith's recovery. Together, they welcomed two beautiful daughters, Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, and built a life that seemed grounded in faith, forgiveness, and family. But as the years went on, fame, distance, and the relentless pace of their careers began to pull at the seams of their relationship. The warning signs were there, small at first, almost invisible to the outside world. Keith was often touring across continents, performing in front of thousands of fans night after night. Nicole was filming back-to-back projects, often halfway around the world. Their time together became a calendar of short reunions and long separations. "We live in different countries sometimes," Nicole admitted once. "That's the nature of our work. We've learned how to make it work, until we couldn't." It wasn't one explosive fight or one moment of betrayal. It was something quieter: distance, miscommunication, exhaustion. The kind of slow unraveling that even love can't always repair. Still, they tried. They attended counseling, took breaks from work, and prioritized family holidays. But the weight of their commitments kept pulling them apart. When Keith would sing love songs on stage, fans swore they could see tears in his eyes. His 2020 album, The Speed of Now, was filled with lyrics about longing, love slipping through fingers, and time he couldn't get back. By the time 2023 came, the rumors had already begun, whispers that the couple were living separate lives. They denied it publicly, but insiders spoke of growing emotional distance. And then, in 2024, the unthinkable happened. Nicole Kidman filed for divorce. For a week, Keith Urban stayed silent. No public statement. No denial. No social media posts. Just silence, the kind that screams louder than words. When he finally spoke, it wasn't through a press release or a glossy magazine interview. It was through his music. On stage at a charity concert in Nashville, Keith paused between songs, his voice trembling. "I blew it," he said. "I blew it to smithereens." The crowd went silent. Then, he continued, "I had the best thing that ever happened to me, and I let my own demons get in the way." It was raw, emotional, and unfiltered, Keith Urban at his most human. That night, fans flooded social media with messages of heartbreak and sympathy. Was this a confession of betrayal? Of guilt? Or simply the painful acknowledgement of a love that couldn't survive the chaos of fame? In later interviews, Keith didn't clarify much. "I'll always love her," he said quietly. "Sometimes love isn't enough. And that's the truth." But Hollywood never leaves a broken heart alone. Within days of Keith's confession, whispers began circulating that there was another woman involved, a country singer named Maggie Baugh. Maggie had shared the stage with Keith a few times, and fans had noticed an undeniable chemistry between them. When the two were photographed together at a charity gala, speculation exploded online. Was she the reason behind the split? Keith, however, denied any affair. "There's no one else. Never was. The truth is simpler than people think," he told a close friend, according to reports. "We drifted apart. That's all." Even so, the internet was relentless. Every post, every lyric, every public sighting became fuel for gossip. And while the world debated, Nicole remained quiet. Dignified. Graceful. Sources close to her said she was heartbroken but not bitter. She had given the marriage everything she could, and sometimes, even that isn't enough. For nearly 2 decades, they had been one of Hollywood's rare examples of a marriage that worked. But the same intensity that made their love story so magical also made their downfall so painful. Nicole once said in an interview, "When you truly love someone, you give all of yourself, the good, the bad, the fragile." That's exactly what she did. But love under the microscope of fame is rarely simple. Every fight becomes a headline, every tear becomes speculation. Over the years, their relationship had to survive not only their own personal struggles but the judgment of millions. Behind the smiles, they were just two human beings trying to hold on, to each other, to themselves, to the life they built. And when it finally broke, it wasn't because of a single failure. It was because they were both exhausted from fighting the same battle again and again. In the aftermath of their divorce filing, another surprising detail emerged: their prenup agreement. The document reportedly contained a clause stating that Nicole would owe Keith $600,000 for every year he remained sober during their marriage. It was a condition she had insisted on, not to punish him, but to protect both of them from the pain of relapse. Keith agreed without hesitation, a symbol of commitment and accountability. For years, that clause stood as a quiet reminder of how fragile their happiness had been. And in the end, it also symbolized how far they had come, and how far they had fallen. Since the divorce, Keith Urban's interviews and performances have taken on a raw, introspective tone. His songs now sound more like confessions than entertainment. In one recent interview, he reflected, "You can lose everything and still have love for the person. Sometimes, letting go is the last act of love." He admitted that the pain of losing Nicole forced him to confront parts of himself he had avoided for years: the fear of intimacy, the scars of addiction, the guilt of imperfection. "I spent years trying to be the perfect husband, the perfect father, the perfect man," and I failed. But failure teaches you humility. It teaches you truth. That truth, he says, is that Nicole deserved better than what he could give at the time. She believed in me more than I believed in myself. I think that's what hurts the most. Nicole, for her part, has chosen silence over spectacle. Instead of interviews or tell-all statements, she has poured herself into her work and her daughters. Friends describe her as resilient, grounded, and determined to protect her family. When asked about the divorce, she simply said, "Life doesn't always follow the script we imagine. But love never disappears. It just changes form." Her words, elegant yet heartbreaking, spoke volumes. Even after everything, there is no hatred, no resentment, only the quiet dignity of a woman who has survived heartbreak before and knows how to rebuild. Even now, whenever Keith performs Blue Ain't Your Color or The Fighter, fans can't help but wonder who he's really singing to. Is it a reflection of nostalgia, or a private apology wrapped in melody? For Nicole, who has built a career portraying complex, emotionally layered characters, the parallels between art and life are haunting. She once said, "I think heartbreak and love are two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other." Perhaps that's why their story resonates so deeply, because it's not just about fame or fortune, but about the universal truth that even the strongest love can break under pressure. After almost 20 years together, Keith and Nicole's story remains one of Hollywood's most bittersweet love sagas. They didn't end with scandal or betrayal, they ended with truth, growth, and an understanding that sometimes, love's greatest gift is the courage to let go. Fans continue to hold hope that, one day, the two might find their way back to each other. But for now, Keith's confession has made one thing clear: his love for Nicole was real, and it shaped him in ways the world will never fully understand. "I'll always be grateful," he said in a quiet moment after his concert. "Because she taught me how to love, and how to lose." And maybe that's the lesson for all of us, that even the most beautiful love stories don't always end the way we want them to. Sometimes, they end so we can learn who we are when the fairy tale fades.